Welcome to Sunriver U's presentation today on water. Spencer Mitchell, the Water Systems Manager for Sunriver Water, and Tim Smith, the General Manager of Northwest Natural Water, are joining us today to give an overview of Sunriver's water. In order to eliminate any background distractions, everyone has been muted. Please type all your questions into the chat. Scott Gillies and I are here. We will aggregate the questions and direct them to our panelists at the end of the talk. This forum is being recorded and posted to the Sunriver U YouTube channel in a day or two. Thank you everyone for coming. I'll turn it over to Spencer and Tim.
Okay. Well, thanks for everybody for having us, and I guess a little presentation on the status of the Sunriver water system. As Kate mentioned, I'm Spencer Mitchell with Sunriver Water, and I've been working for Sunriver for about 13 years, and I'm excited to share a little bit about our system and show you what we got going on and what's coming up in the near future, hopefully. So I'll turn it over to Tim to introduce himself.
Hello, my name is Tim Smith. I am the General Manager for Northwest Natural Water, Pacific Northwest Division. Spencer and I have been working together for roughly 3.5 years now. I am new to the company. I came to Sunriver area, like I said, about 3.5 years ago from the Connecticut area. So I'm enjoying being up here in Central Oregon and loving the life. So Spencer will give the presentation that we have, and then he and I together will answer any questions that come up.
Okay, I'll try to share my screen here. Can everybody see presentation?
Not yet.
Okay. Yeah.
There it is.
All right. Okay. All right. So like we said, that we're going to give a brief overview of what we got in our system. Primary wells, booster stations, pressure zones. And then once we do a little bit of an overview of what we got going on, we can open it up for some questions. Okay, so Sunriver has 3 primary wells: well 14, well 9, and well 2. I know some of you, I'll touch on a couple of the wells. Well 14 is our primary distribution well, along with well 9, well 14, and we'll have a couple of slides giving a little pictures too of the areas. But well 14 produces about 2,100 gallons a minute. Well 9 produces about 1,540. And same with well 2. However, well 2 is strictly, as of right now, just for a fire flow event. We can use it for distribution purposes. However, the water quality is not up to our standards. So as a lot of you are probably wondering, we are rehabbing that. We're drilling right outside the well there and trying to drill a deeper well and get some better quality water for you guys. Well 2 was built in 1943, so it's been a long time coming, and needs to be the original needs to be decommissioned and get some good water quality for you guys. We have 3.25 million gallons of storage between the north and south reservoirs. We have 2 million on the south between 3 tanks and 1.25 on the north reservoir. So well 14 let me back up. All our wells feed into the reservoirs, but also meet demand in the distribution system. So well 14's on the south end of town for the south reservoir, and well 9 is on the north end and fills for the north reservoir. We have 3 pressure zones and 10 PRV vaults throughout the system. And I'll pull up a map here, and it might be hard to see because it's on a PDF, but I'll try to enlarge it so you can see. But so we have 3 pressure zones, 2 of which are in use right now. So we have a high pressure zone where our booster stations feed into the low pressure areas, so we can boost this pressure up through the center of Sunriver. And then 1 is being built right now in Caldera that we will take over here in a little bit. We have 83 miles of pipe in the system. That's a lot of pipe and a lot of upkeep that we maintain. We got a lot of facilities for a smaller system that we try our best to maintain and upgrade, and when we can. Okay, so this is the North Reservoir. Like I said before, it's 1.25 million gallons of storage. It's constructed in 2015. This one is basically brand new. Depending on the usage, we will take it offline, but however, due to some operational changes, it's usually online year round. And obviously we want it online for fire flow events and things like that. So, but these reservoirs get turned over pretty quickly in the summertime when everybody's using water. So, but that's the North Reservoir. I didn't mention it, but we do have right behind this tank, we do have what we call a test well. It's not a production well. It's basically just a well to make sure we can get water. Had we wanted to build a production well at this site, but it's a minimal GPM output, and we don't use it for production. This is our south reservoirs. They were built in the early 70s. Not pictured is well 14's building is just to the left of my cursor there, but we had in 2018 we had these inspected with an engineering outfit, and basically they inspected the painting and everything that goes into these tanks to make sure we can maintain high quality of water for you guys. The issue with these, they are at the end of their life, their useful life. So they're, as you will see in a couple of slides from now, we're hoping that we can build 2 1.65 million gallon tanks here. Whether that gets approved or not, we'll wait and see. But these, they're not in horrible condition, but we're ready to. We need to start making some plans to get these tanks replaced. This is well 14 inside. It's drilled in 2006 at a depth of 555 feet. This is the wellhead, and as I said before, it produces about 2,100 gallons per minute. And these pictures are just, these are the well controls, and this is our PLC cabinet over here. It basically is the brains of the well. So we can run off of multiple different, we can run off of pressure, we can run off our reservoir levels, which that's what we do. We run off our reservoir levels. Once they drop to 26 feet, it kicks on the well 14. And as you might expect, you know, all of our wells do run quite a bit during the summer when everybody's using water. But you know, this is our primary well, and we want to make sure we take care of it. And usually, depending on what we got going down on for maintenance, usually this is the one that during the off season is running. Now we'll take it down for maintenance and let well 9 handle the demand. But this is the one that usually is running year round. This is well 9. It produces about 1,540 gallons per minute. Drilled in 1985 at a depth of 558 feet. This one has been solid. It's a solid well. I should mention that we what we call dip, we measure the static levels of the aquifer that they're pulling from every year. Well 9 hasn't changed at all. Well 14, minimal. So our aquifers are recovering as expected. So the water's there. And like I said, well 9, where it's pulling from, we haven't seen any difference in our aquifer static levels. And this is the same thing as well 14. This are the brains of the well, and we run well. We can have either well 14 or well 9 operate off of the north or south reservoir. However, well 9 being on the north end, we have it run off of the north reservoir pretty much 24/7, unless we have 14 down for maintenance. So let's see, this is booster 1. Now, so like I was saying, that blue, going back to the map, that blue area, this station is right across the street from the fire department and SROA. Basically, we're boosting pressure from around, and the low pressure we call around 60 PSI to the high pressure to about 90 PSI. Now, the reason we do that is because if we didn't have these booster stations, the homes and the area that were in blue would have about 25 to 30 PSI, which is not sufficient. So that's why we have 2 of these guys. Typically, 2 is the newer, and it's a newer station, and it's a little lower, so it sees pressure differentials a little bit sooner than booster 1 here. And so booster 2 usually runs most of the time, unless again we're down for maintenance and doing some work on it. But so in the winter time, we have to manually shut one station off, so just another one runs for a little bit. Booster 1 is one of our sample points in our distribution system. So we're required to take 5 bacteria samples every month. So basically 1 a week. Sometimes if it's a shorter month, we'll have to pull 2 for one of the weeks in the month. But so this is one of our sample points, and we hardly ever get any back T hits at all. And usually we have had one, but typically we know what it's from, and the problem gets taken care of quickly, and it's not an issue for the consumers. Booster 2 is newer. We have, this is another one of our sample points, and this is on Mount Baker Road there. You'll see it off to the right as you pull in, but that's this station. And so we actually have a project going on. We're half done. These pumps got rebuilt because, like I said, this station is running pretty much all the time. So we had these pumps rebuilt, the motors rebuilt, a couple new check valves. This is the primary booster station that we want to take care of as much as we can. But we still have some more work to do. We got to raise this header right here for a little bit because it's putting a little too much strain on these pumps, but outside of that, it's almost done. But we'll wait till fall for that. Just, once, Sunriver quiets down a little bit. So, real quick before I get into the upcoming projects, we do have another small booster station on Mink Lane. It only feeds Mink Lane. That's another sample point for us. But it only feeds Mink Lane for a few houses, so I didn't include that in the slide. It's just a small 2-pump room, and it's they're small pumps, and really, we could probably go without it, certain times of the year, but it doesn't run all that much. But the current and upcoming projects we have, as I stated before, well 2 is being re-drilled. So like I said, it was built or drilled in 1943. The water quality was not good. And ever since I had moved to or started working for Sunriver, I understood, why we didn't use it, because of water quality. And it's mainly just there for fire flow event, which to me didn't make much sense. We want another production well if it's for our water rights, and if we're stating it's a production well, we want to be able to use it for consumption. So basically the only time right now we turn on well 2 is when we're pulling samples for the state on our sample schedule. So we rely heavily on well 14 and well 9, and ideally, going back to last year, we had an instance where well 14 had an electrical issue and we couldn't get it running. And this is 2 weeks before July 4th. So, and I think a lot of we put on a curtailment for that issue. It's not about a water shortage or anything like that. It's just one of our primary well went down, and luckily we were able to get it back online and lift the curtailment, but not the time to have one of our production wells down in the middle of summer. So that's another reason why we want to rehab well 2, is so if one well is down for any length of time, we don't need to worry about it and minimize the impact to our customers, you guys. So it's not for a lack of water, it's just for operational purposes mainly. So we can have time in those situations to get things fixed up. We're shooting for about a 1540 GPM through the new well 2, about the same as well 9. So that's what we're shooting for. and hopefully it's completed by the end of the year, hopefully sooner. You know, we're dealing with what everybody deals with, and the procurement of materials, just the world we live in now. But next, as I mentioned before, booster 2 rebuild. It, like I said, it's halfway done. We just got to rebuild those headers, but the pumps, the motors, VFDs getting rebuilt, and that's a another big facility for us that we want to maintain. So well, 14 controls rebuild. That's kind of going along the lines of what our issue had last year. We got it fixed. However, when we had some issues bringing it back online last year, we kind of thought, well, we need to be able to bypass a lot of the electrical issues that we've had that took the well down. So that will hopefully happen in the fall of this year. We have it slated to be rebuilt in the fall. So barring any material procurement issues, that should be completed by the end of the year. Meter replacement. So that has been an ongoing capital project we've had for years before I even started working here. A couple years ago, we used to, well, let me backtrack. We used to install them all of ourselves, and it just wasn't moving quick enough. It was just taking, we got a bunch of stuff to do, minimal staff. So we decided a couple of years ago to bring in a contractor to bust them out sooner than later. So, and hopefully we will have them all replaced. Well, all the original meters replaced by the end of next year. But since it's taken us that long, when we started replacing these meters, we were probably going to have to start going and replacing those ones we started, 20 years ago. So it's an ongoing project that we have. Valve replacement. I cannot stress enough that a lot of our infrastructure on the north end is newer, but on the south end, it's showing its age. And valves in our system are either seized or they're not operational. And so we ourselves are going in and replacing them. So when you see, a poster board saying that water is off for valve replacement, that's what we're doing. We're replacing valves that either don't work or do not shut all the way. Those valves are, important, obviously, for so in a water break, we can isolate certain areas without affecting more people, more customers. So that one, valve replacement, is going to be an ongoing project for us for the foreseeable future. Another big one is pipe assessment. Kind of same along lines. We've have this year, we had our contractor Diversified come out, and basically what they do, and we know the areas that are showing their age. So on the pipes, basically they send an ultrasonic wave down the pipe, and it gets the diameter of the interior of the pipe, and going off the manufacturer's specifications for that pipe and how thick it should be, it can give us a life expectancy on these pipe. So basically we've just after this first year of doing that, we know that we've got a lot of pipe that we're going to need to be replacing here in the next several years. And as with 83 miles of pipe, that we'll be doing that for when I'm long gone. So it's going to be an ongoing project for the time being. But 2022 is when we do the pipe assessment, and we'll do some in next year and in 24. But in 2025 is when we really want to start collecting that data and finding where we want to start, what pipe we want to start replacing, and what needs it the most. Next up is the South Reservoir replacement. As I stated, they were built in the early 70s. They're showing their age, and their life expectancy is coming to an end. So tentatively want to get those done next year. We'll see. That's got to get approved. Obviously, that is not cheap, but it's something we need to get on the calendar to start looking at and get going on. Obviously, you know, the south end with the village, that's where a lot of the usages come from, you know, so we want to make sure we're being proactive and not reactive with those tanks. And then the AC pipe replacement, that's going along with the pipe assessment. 2025, we're hoping to have a start date. How much we get done in a year, don't know. I mean, again, that's not cheap. And we want to minimize the impact to our customers. So it's going to have to be a timing issue as well. So it's a juggling act, but those are some big projects we have coming up and are doing. We have a lot of other things that we do on a yearly basis. We maintain the hydrants. We test them every year and maintenance them every year. Same with the valves. We valve turn every year, maintenance them every year. Backflows, you know, and during the summertime, as you guys, you know, may or may not know, we're always on a water break, or, you know, there's things that we're chasing our tail at sometimes, but we do the best we can with the crew we got, and we have a good crew. So, you know, we apologize for any outages that you guys may incur, but, you know, sometimes water breaks, it is what it is. You know, we try to get it done as fast as we can. We try to maintain an inventory, but as in, like last year, for example, AC pipe, it's cured. So the outside diameter of those pipes vary. You know, they'll give you, you know, what it should be, but since it's cured, it didn't cure just right in the manufacturing process. So as of last year, we had two 12-inch mains hit by direct drilling, and we were lucky that both of those we were able to isolate without turning anybody off while we waited on parts, because the fittings that we had did not fit that diameter. It was a little bit thicker. So, and we got overnighted parts and got it back online. But, you know, you can't plan for every situation. We try our best, but that's just the way it is. But outside of that, I want to hear some. I think Tim and I are ready for some questions. You know, hopefully we answered a few of them going through the slideshow, but I'm sure there's quite a bit more. So I'll stop sharing my screen here.
Spencer, the first question that came up was when you had the map up, and someone asked if they could get a copy of that through email.
Yeah, absolutely. We can send that out and just give us the email address and we can send it out.
Well, if you email it to me, I can make sure everybody.
Okay, yeah, I'll email it to you.
Okay. Let's see. We're getting quite a few questions. Regarding the ongoing pipe replacement, are the internal pipe diameter changes over time increases in parentheses due to erosion or decreases due to mineral deposit?
The pipe diameter, the thickness of the pipe decreases with erosion over time.
Okay. Are there any plans for more capacity in effluent management and timing?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Are there any plans for more capacity in effluent management and timing?
If you're referring to reservoir storage, yeah, the tanks. So the South Reservoir tanks, right now, between the three tanks are 2 million gallons of storage. We will increase that to 1.65 million gallons of storage.
Okay. What is AC pipe?
Asbestos concrete transite pipe. And I'm aware that the question is going to come up to where, do we have asbestos in our water? No, we test for that on our sample schedule for Oregon Health Authority every year or so, and we are well below the MCL, the maximum contaminant levels. And you will see that on our consumer confidence report that we post to our website every year. So if you want water quality info and testing results, either refer to the CCR on our website, or you can go to the Oregon Health Authority and look up our system and see all the results.
How often do we chlorinate the water?
As a treatment process, we don't chlorinate. However, when we do chlorinate, it's because we're fixing a repair or on a water break and chlorinate our fittings in the pipe itself. But as far as a treatment, we don't chlorinate. I should say most of the time. Now, if we did have an issue a few years back when the North Reservoir did come online, that it wasn't getting turned over and we had a back T hit there, but we knew that's where the source was and we chlorinated it. But barring any unforeseen circumstances, we don't chlorinate our water.
Okay. How will the new caldera development affect our water supply?
Not at all. What we're producing now is more than sufficient for the caldera expansion.
Sunriver Brewing Company is interested in that last question. And actually, I think it goes back to the one about effluent. We currently treat it and time our discharge. Will that give us more capacity?
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
Well, this is from the person that asked, are there any plans for more capacity in effluent management and timing? And then you talked about the well capacities at the time. And so he's asking again, saying Sunriver Brewing is interested in that last question. So other questions had come in.
Okay.
We currently treat it and time our discharge. Will that give us more capacity? Effluent.
Tim, do you want to answer that? Tim needs to be unmuted.
Oh, I thought he.
There he goes.
Pat, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. So can you give me that question one more time from Sunriver Brewing? I'm a little confused on what they're asking.
The first part of the question was, are there any plans for more capacity in effluent management and timing? And then he came back and said, Sunriver Brewing is interested in that last question. We currently treat it and time our discharge. Will that give us more capacity?
No,
Okay.
and tell Sunriver they should contact us directly to have that discussion.
Okay. He just put another one up. He said, we plan to increase our barrelage and need to know if you can handle our growth.
Yeah, he needs to call me directly.
Okay.
Thank you.
What is the construction at the main water office site?
We are expanding the wastewater not expanding, sorry, wrong term. We are updating the wastewater treatment facility currently at this time. We are making it so that it meets the Department of Health standards for a Class A reclaimed water is what that is all about.
In general, is our aquifer level dropping? And as is happening in Bend?
No, as I stated before, well 9, we haven't seen any difference in our static levels. We typically measure our static levels around April, May time. Typically you want your wells off for 24 hours prior to measurement to get you an accurate read. Because obviously if you measure the well right after it's been running, it's gonna show a lower aquifer level, static level. So, but no, we haven't seen anything out of the ordinary for both well 9 and 14. 14 has gone down a little bit, but this year, but that was because well 14 was running right before we had to dip it and turn it the reports into the state. But even at that, it wasn't anything concerning. We're talking about inches, you know. No, our aquifers recover pretty well.
Thank you. The cost of treating wastewater comes with expenses as evident in the sewer use fee charges to residential customers. If Sunriver Resort is irrigating a golf course with treated wastewater, shouldn't the resort at least cover the cost of the treated wastewater by paying irrigation rates?
They do.
Okay.
The resort pays the one golf course that in fact uses the effluent from the wastewater treatment plant does pay for that water. And it's not at irrigation rates because it has nothing to do with the potable water side and the tariffs on the potable water side. It's got to do with the effluent from the treatment plant.
Okay, this is kind of related to that. If the resort is paying irrigation rates to irrigate golf courses, then why is this not reflected as higher irrigation revenues? In CY 2015, the last time golf course revenue was reported, the Sunriver Water received golf course revenue of $121,000 at a rate then of 36 cents for 1,000 gallons. Current irrigation rates are $1.96 per 1,000 gallons. At more than 5 times increase in rate paid, would likely lead to a significant increase in irrigation revenue from golf course irrigation, but that is not reflected in the annual reports.
Okay, so the reason that is that way is that the current, the one golf course we talked about that uses effluent from the wastewater plant to irrigate with. The other golf course has 2 wells that they own and operate to irrigate with. And then the water over in Caldera Springs is a whole different as far as how they're set up. And nobody's on the golf course irrigation rate. They're paying the higher rate to use potable water to irrigate with.
Okay. What is the static levels of the wells?
So well 9 is usually consistent with around 44 feet is our static level. Now, Well 14 is around 130 feet, give or take a few inches. So that's about where our typical stack levels are at.
Should, I'm not sure if this is written, it might mean, should the increase in our water bills to cover the cost of replacement of the South Reservoir and other maintenance? There's a typo in there, I'm not exactly sure where. Or do you have adequate reserves at this time?
We do not have adequate reserves. Our fees are based on collecting what we have spent. It's the way the PUC works. It's not like we can put a bunch of money in the bank and hold on to it until we need a project done. The way that the rate structure is that we have to, like Spencer said, all these projects that he showed you the list of, we have to go and get all of these projects done. And then when we need a rate case to recover the cost of those expenses, then we put together a rate case, send it to the PUC, and they either approve or deny or approve a percentage, or, you know, if you've ever been through that process, it's very long and drawn out process.
Okay, on to some more questions.
Yep.
How does it make sense for a water company to give a well to Sunriver Resort and then go to the expense of drilling a new well?
Okay, two separate issues. The well that was given to the resort for the Crosswater Golf Course is what we called well 12. And it was being used for irrigation purposes only, even when it was part of the Sunriver Water Company before Northwest Natural purchased it. As part of the purchase agreement, the resort wanted to keep well 12 for irrigation purposes for Crosswater. So that was part of the agreement when we purchased the company. And the new well is for potable water, not for irrigation water.
Okay. The next question starts off with a quote from Tom O'Shea from the resort, and he said, "The resort will remain the largest customer of Sunriver Water following the sale." And that was in his testimony to the PUC related to the sale to Northwest Natural.
Yep, back in 2017.
If Sunriver Resort is the largest customer of Sunriver Water, why is it not the largest contributor to revenue?
Yeah, see, I'm not really sure. I saw that question and I'm trying to understand what Tom meant by biggest customer, because the majority of our revenue comes from residential customers. It does not come from the resort. So I'm not really 100% sure what that comment was meant to state. I mean, I honestly don't know. I wasn't part of that at that time. So
okay.
Residential customers are our largest base of revenue.
Why did Sunriver Water contract with Abyss Well Drilling to drill a new well about 50 meters west of the 17th tee on the Meadows Golf Course? Did Sunriver Water drill another new well since the sale? How deep is the new one? How deep are the existing wells? You've kind of covered the depth on the existing.
Go ahead,
Yeah,
Bill Spencer, get that one.
Well 2, as I stated, is built in 1943. It's only about 225 feet deep, and the water quality was not very good. So that's what we're doing, is we're trying to decommission the original and drill deeper, and we actually did. We drilled deeper to about the tune of 350 feet. And it's in a confined aquifer, meaning we're not pulling from any other surface waters. We're not pulling from the original well, even though it's really close. We can find it, and then we're going to pull from a deeper aquifer.
Has Sunriver Resort paid Sunriver Water any fees similar to system development charges to equitably recover the cost of expanding water and sewer infrastructure capacity to serve the new customers in Caldera?
Sure, yeah. So what that amounts to is that the developer is doing the cost for all of the infrastructure that is currently going in over at Caldera Annex. So they're paying for all of that, and then they will deed all of that infrastructure over to Sunriver Utilities once it is completed. And that's how, instead of paying an SDC type charge, service charge on the connections and stuff like that, they end up, because of, they're doing like $5 million worth of water infrastructure, and then roughly the same kind of numbers in sewer infrastructure. And so because they're putting in all of those assets and then deeding them over to us, that's why there is no SDC charge.
Okay. How many fire hydrants are there in Sunriver?
About 490, 495.
Why are sewer charges not calculated based on the water used during a billing period? And then it goes on to show examples of sewer fees in other small towns such as Astoria and Baker and Lapine. All water utilities provide sewer service and maintain and upgrade facilities. Why does Sunriver Water need so much more in revenue to accomplish the same service?
So again, back to the upgrades to the wastewater treatment plant. We have about an $18 million update to that treatment plant. And as part of that, we've been increasing the rates on the sewer side of things to help pay for that. I think it's been like 5% for the last, well, I've been here 3.5 years. We've done it 5% for that 3.5 year period. And I was told that the resort was doing it previous to that to help collect funds to help pay for that. So that's what it amounts to, is it's got to do, again, the cost outlay, and then, you know, calculate back the number of customers and the cost for that. And that's how we come up with the sewer rate on a monthly basis.
So when that project is over, then our rates are going to go down?
No, unfortunately, because we have, it's just like Spencer showed you on the water side, all the different infrastructure projects that we have to do. On the environmental side, we have the same kind of a list. So we've got like a 20-year list of all projects that need to be done and when the date is that they need to be done by and all those kinds of things. So unfortunately, the improvements to the system will not stop. They'll continue for many years.
That's it for questions, unless anybody else has any more. Do you want to enter in chat? Looks like we're about done. When is it? 2 days? Yeah, okay. And just another reminder that this is being recorded and it will be on our YouTube channel in another day or two, including the question and answer.
That's great. Hey, one thing I want to bring up, I don't know who asked for the map.
Yes.
We cannot give you that. The map is, it's part of Security for the Water Systems Act that the EPA has out there. And so that being the case, we cannot share that information with anyone.
Yeah, that was a good question. I wasn't going to give them that specific map, just a breakdown of, but
okay,
no,
yeah, if you can give them a much more broad, but that map you show, you absolutely cannot, because it's got all the details of the water.
Yep.
Okay. We do, this is from Sunriver Brewing again. Just want to register how coordination and communication has improved since Northwest Natural purchase. Thanks.
Thanks,
So,
Brett. Appreciate it. I see you're on there. Give me a call tomorrow and we'll talk about that other issue.
And let's see, a question, was the original well a Corps of Engineers
I believe so, yes.
for 1943?
Hmm.
So, okay, I think we've hit the end here. Thank you both very much for doing this. It was really informative. Great questions, great answers. Thank you.
Hey, and anybody else that's on there, if you've got questions that come up after this, send Spencer or I an email and we'll get back to you.
Would you both
Absolutely.
say what your emails are?
Sure. Go ahead, Spencer.
Mine is smmitchell@sunriverutilities.com.
And mine is tsmith@sunriverutilities.com.
Good. Thank you both.
Mm-hmm. Y'all have a good evening.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.